Hello, friends. Welcome to the November satsang. Wow. Um, yeah. So I'm a little nervous because I'm new, you're new. I feel like there's a lot of new people here. And there's also Kuthumi here, and Kuthumi has been like a little squirrel. Oh, what about this? What about that? What about this? His joy is contagious, but sometimes you go, okay, Kuthumi, there's a lot of little pieces. So part of my job working with Kuthumi over the last 3 or 4 years now has been to weave all of these little bits and pieces, all these threads into a tapestry. The greatest example of that tapestry of Kuthumi threads and your threads of this new life, this embodied enlightenment, a good example of it manifest would be this book. This book didn't come together paragraph by paragraph. There were all these threads that I got from working with you all, that I got from email conversations, that I got in one-on-one sessions, that Kuthumi brought to me. What about this? What about that? All these threads. And then you weave them all together in a tapestry and it comes out, this is a tapestry. This is a tapestry. The Magi's definitive guide to the new human species, carbon altered through consciousness. Yes, so the satsangs are little mini tapestries of weaving all of this new energy together. I want to make sure I'm recording. I want to make sure I have my volume all the way up. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to give a year in review. I have something special planned for December, and last video that I shared on our YouTube channel to all 500 plus of you was just me talking and no slides. So I try to go back and forth. If you're new here, I do just the talks, the satsang chats, right? Satsang means truth speak. We sit in our truth together. Quick drink of water. And then sometimes Kuthumi comes in, and Kuthumi really likes the slides. Kuthumi's thing is bringing the mind into this experience, bringing the human mind into this experience. And his passion for that dates back to the Atlantean era. You see, Kuthumi and myself, and possibly you, participated in standardizing this biological form that we all find ourselves in today. And there's a lot of the ego used to be the fallout boy. Oh, my ego, the human, dumb human, silly human, right? And we started to love our human and bring it back into this experience, loving the messy human, the messy Jesus, stop the sanitation of Jesus, right? Let's not sanitize the human in this experience. Let's keep some of those attributes of the human personality, of its passion and its love for being embodied here on earth. But what Kuthumi's been talking to me about is now, he's like, the ego is no longer the fallout boy, because the ego has become the we-go, the fluid, flexible, as Moria called it, we wrote it in one of our books, slippery identity, right? So we're not trying to get rid of the ego, but it becomes malleable and fluid. So now that the ego is not the fallout boy, guess who the fallout boy is? The biology. Everyone blames the biology. And, oh, it's because of the standardized form. But what we don't see, Kuthumi says this to me and to all of you, Kuthumi says what we don't see is that this biology may have been standardized, but it's highly, highly adaptable to consciousness. And that's what we really talk about here. Carbon, the biological body, can be altered through the light of consciousness, the light of awareness, in unfathomable ways. Last night, I forget I'm on earth sometimes. I had put my vegetables, I'm a big vegetable eater. Since working with Kuthumi, I've even become more healthy in my food choices, thanks to Kuthumi. He always says, we're going to put a recipe book out. We're going to do a Kuthumi cookbook. cooking with Kuthumi. And I said, okay, when I find time for that. So yesterday, I was cooking my vegetables and I had them in a pan with a handle, but it goes in the oven. And of course, I forgot I was on Earth. I've undone so much programming in my body. I'm fully present. This is not like a dingbat eject button moment. I look at the pan, I'm fully present, and I put my hand on the hot pan to pull it out of the oven. And then I realized, oh my goodness, I'm on Earth. There's this thing called heat, so I burnt this hand. And all the stuff I've been working with in Kuthumi, I feel really vulnerable sharing this because I don't want it to come off as, none of the stuff I'm sharing is a brag. It is illuminating potentials for the new human species. So I burnt my hand, and there's a pain sensor in the body. But in working with Kuthumi over the last 3-4 years, he's shown me how I can heal myself. So he's like, okay, you do it for you here. And he kind of walked me through it. So I healed my burn. It took a tremendous amount of energy to heal the burns on my hands, maybe about 2 hours, and a few guided things from Kuthumi and understanding how this biology works. So, I mean, we're really living this. And without Kuthumi, I would probably be going, oh, I burnt my hand. I got to pay more attention. Right. But he goes in and shows me in the DNA where the program is. Hot pan, don't touch, and we literally go through the energy codes in this biology. So burning my hand presents a beautiful opportunity for me to heal it by myself, but with the help and guidance of Kuthumi to show me, how to go beyond. So that's just an example of the stuff that we do here if you're new. I also want to point out that a lot of the new people are not from the Crimson Circle organization. So when I use terms that came from there, I will be modifying and explaining to words you might already know if you came from that world. Our big thing, Kuthumi and I's big thing, our passion, our mission is to bring a universal approach to embodied enlightenment, not a spiritual faction. Like you in Christianity, you have the Catholics and the Baptists and the whatever, and then there's just the broad term Christian. So Kuthumi, when he started working with me, he said, this is one of our top priorities. He loves P words, right? Playing in the P's. So our priority is to bring the universality that is shining your light on Earth. The universality it's all soul beings and all of creation, not just a certain few or this little group or that. So just really, and you may have come from there and you may honor that deeply. I know I do. I honor the little faction pieces of myself deeply. And then it's time for something new. The universality of shining your light without getting lost in oneness and we are all one. Unity from a subjective, sovereign experience, sovereign ones. So we have a huge presentation put together here. And so how this channel is coming out is it's me, Sarah, Kuthumi, and the third stream is you. And I just put it all, you being beings who are here on Earth right now, shining their light, opening to full luminosity. Full luminosity is interesting because it requires you to integrate the designated ascendee lifetime, the version of yourself, the beautiful, beautiful version of yourself who experienced realization, who realized, oh my gosh, there's something so much bigger than this human life. And I'm not even just a soul being, I'm also consciousness. I am source and soul. Soul being energy, source being consciousness, flowing together on that infinity symbol, source and soul, energy and consciousness. So when you're in your fully luminous life, all the lifetimes kind of become equal. All the energetic imprints have their realization experience, and it becomes this tapestry that you weave for yourself, right? We talked about weaving all the threads of every little Kuthumi note written at 3 a.m. in the morning. Every little Kuthumi note written down at 3 a.m. in the morning formed this tapestry. Each little thread, each little shred of paper. And that's the same thing that happens in your full luminosity. You're weaving all the threads in, right? So we're going to talk about that more, right? So we're going to tell you, this is Kuthumi. I'm going to tell you what we're going to tell you. Then we're going to tell you, and then we're going to tell you what we told you. All right. So in this thought song, it's also playing in the P's, right? The potential to be able to heal your burned hand. Yes, right? I have a few more stories like that, but I don't want it to be story time. I want to get in a lot of what Kuthumi has to share. We're going to talk about how this new energy, to me, new energy is Christ consciousness. They're terms for the same thing. New energy is energy and consciousness combined as one. And then we're learning how it works, right? Christ consciousness and new energy are interchangeable terms here in our space. So there was an event, right? In March, an event. If you come from Crimson Circle, it is called Heaven's Cross for you guys. Kuthumi and I just call it opening up the passageways to all of creation. So opening up the passageways to all of creation also opened up all of the passageways to all your lifetimes to allow that full luminosity, right? So all of creation is you and how you experienced all of creation. So we're making little connections between this realized lifetime and that realized lifetime. And as you make all these connections, the designated ascendee goes, oh, wow, I did my job. Look how cool this is. I don't have to be in charge of this realization thing anymore. I did a really good job. And now I can be part of the whole, right? Instead of the one last lifetime designated ascendee, it goes, oh my God, this is so exciting. I can be part of the whole. So that's really what opening up the passageways to all of creation in March did. It allowed you to be able to connect all of the lifetimes. Kuthumi goes at this as he calls it mind mapping, or mapping the mind of the God also, right? So instead of it being the human mind, you're in the mind of God. Each lifetime, each energetic imprint, right, is a cell, a neuron in the mind of God, right? And so we start to connect all of those things. Mind mapping the mind of God. That'll be in our next year. We're going to put that out. I've been working with Kuthumi quite a bit on it. And for me, I explore this through the divine blueprint, which is something that Yeshua and Mary Magdalene showed me. All right, Kuthumi saying, next slide. I just hope I can do all this stuff all the gifts Kuthumi has brought to me over the last 3-4 years justice. Working with, I'm gonna cry. Working with Kuthumi, has been hugely humbling to lean into those places where I thought I had everything figured out, to be willing to put down, I've been there, done that, I know everything, part of myself, to really, eat a slice of humble pie. Part of my contract with Kuthumi was that I live all the materials. I'm not just channeling them. They go out and I'm not responsible for any of it. It's was very clear to both of us that I inhabit and I use myself basically as the experiment before putting the materials out. And there have been times when I was like, what have I got myself into? And Kuthumi's been kind of invasive in my life. And then I deeply realized that sovereignty doesn't require space. My autonomy is not impacted by having Kuthumi here all the time. And, guru has such a negative connotation. But if I'm being really honest with you, the relationship I have with Kuthumi is very much him passing on his new energy coded experience from his last lifetime into this biological form, literally passing on the codes. And that's not something you can read in a book or learn from an online course. That's something that he's passed along to me, and I hope to be able to pass along to you, whether it's in the dream state or you come have a conversation with me. I don't feel any shame saying that Kuthumi has been playing. I get a little sad because, eventually he's going to make his way out of here. The relationship, the divine love between, teacher and student. The first thing Kuthumi said when he came to me was, you have to be teachable for me to work with you. He said, you have to become a student of new energy. And this was like 3 years after my self-realization experience. And I still had a little bit of that hierarchy code in my DNA where it says, I'm realized, I don't need a guru, and then I realized, what? I have no idea how to bring my realization, which was very real and very tangible here. I have no idea how to bring my realization that happened beyond time and space. I don't know how to bring what happened beyond time and space into time and space, the formless becoming form, the formless moving into form, infusing this biology with consciousness. I don't know how to do that, dear Kuthumi. I'll take you up on your offer. Show me how. Total humility. And that's when Kuthumi is like, all right, we're doing this, right? But he wasn't going to come in and help me and show me all this until I was teachable, and being teachable also taught me what love and compassion is. And it taught me how to work with you all better. It taught me what true autonomy is, and having, the guru of new energy, the guru of biological freedom, having the guru of biological freedom, Kuthumi himself, in my living room every day for the last, he's saying it's almost 4 years we've been together. It's like, it taught me what autonomy is. It taught me what love is. It taught me what actual friendship is. And it taught me how to recode the cells in my body. It taught me how to remove the hierarchy from my DNA. So I'm not in that weird little thing where it's like positioning yourself like, oh, they're higher or lower. They're trying to put me in the corner. Nobody can put you in the corner but you. And every time I'd have a little meltdown, Kuthumi would leave me alone till I got my stuff in order, until I reoriented around my new truth, which happens daily. I'm reorienting around my new truth, around the new codes in my biology. And then he'd come in and say, have you thought about this? That's Kuthumi. That's how he taught me everything. He said, have you thought about this? What if, right? I got COVID last month or the month before, I can't remember. I think I don't have a COVID test sitting around. I have no idea. I don't take drugs for that kind of stuff. But I'm not opposed to medicine. I had someone talk about being opposed to medicine. I am not. It's all you. It's all your energy. You need a knee replacement? That's your energy. The doctor is you. The knee replacement is you. It's all you. Get the damn thing. I just want to add that in. But and I was feeling pretty drained, and I was looking at my financials for running this business, and, and I had talked to a few people, and sometimes talking to other people is not helpful. They were like, oh, that's horrible. And I was talking to them about all the stuff my light body was going through. And they're like, maybe you're just sick, and it starts to kind of other people's stuff, right? It's not really other people. It's your doubts talking to you through other people. So there's no one to blame ever. No one to blame ever. But I don't know. The wheels were falling off the bus. Literally, I have a camping van, and I had 2 wheels literally come off the bus, and Kutumi's like, this is one of those moments, right? This is one of those moments that he said that a lot of the people he worked with, they go, what am I doing wrong? Where did I make a wrong turn? What if it's the dragon? It's dragon clarity. I'm not allowing enough. And he started showing me all these little things that people do. Oh, I need to learn another lesson. Oh, the dragon's come back around. For those of you who don't know what the dragon is, it's just that fiery breathing clarity that, you know, incinerates old belief systems and allows new growth in the forest of you. So Kutumi's like, this is what people do, right? The wheels come off the bus and they go, I've done something wrong. I need to learn something. It's dragon clarity. I'm not allowing enough. I need to receive more. And they do all these little things. And he goes, dear Sarah, what if you are doing a new thing? What if we just don't have the language for what you're going through yet? And I was like, oh my God, you're so right. So I have new tires on my camping van, which is quite old. And I realized the tires symbolized like how I connected to earth, right? The tire is what connects the car to the road, and through texture of the gravel and creative tension, it moves the wheel. So I got all new tires. I wrote about it on the blog. I was sitting on the side of the highway while all this happened. I won't repeat that tire story here, but if you want to go on the blog and read it, you can, because I have a lot of Kuthumi stuff in there and some subtle energy notes. About 10 of you caught the subtle energy notes in those blog posts and sent me a note. I got you covered, man. They're in there, the whispers about how new energy works, all laid out in those blog posts. So I realized that the tires coming off the bus, the wheels falling off the bus, is about connecting in a new way. Energy serving consciousness was something I really understood how energy serving consciousness works. But when you move from 2 to 4, energy serving consciousness, 2 to 4, new energy, responding and interacting and mainly playing with new energy, the 4, the wheels are going to fall off the bus, you know, because you need new tires, new way to be in the world. And I started to realize that slow down I went through, you know, represented by a sickness or whatever else, or being in bed. I'm used to having like a ton of energy. So to be in bed and sleep till 8, I mean, I get up at 4 and I'm like this, you know, because I have a new biology, a light body, whatever you want to call it, new human. I am a new human species. So to be in bed, and I started to feel into it like deeply. Kuthumi moves aside. I am just in my body of consciousness. And I really started to realize that slowdown was really a quantum leap. And all of that subconscious energy, all the subtle energy was coming into form, right? Going from subconscious to conscious in the biology, going from subtle energy into gross or physically dense energy, right? And so realization was this reaching out, touching the crystal clear consciousness. I wrote it in my book, Story of a Modern Master. And you reach out and you touch it. Oh, and then you're back on earth and you go, okay, wait a second, right? So this new human species is bringing that formless into form, right? Making the subtle gross. We've spent going toward realization, you spent so much time trying to connect with the ethereal, right? Now the ethereal is wanting to come in and connect with the soil, the day-to-day life of human experience, expression as consciousness, infusing this biology. Okay. Kuthumi's like, and I'm sure you can feel it. Let's try changing the slide since I've been talking for a while. All right, how do we get there? No. There we go. So what have we done this year? Oh my God, look at these bright beings. So in January, we were in Mexico at the Villa Usara, Casa de la Nueva Vida, with these 6 beautiful, beautiful beings. And this was a Kuthumi event. And what we did is we opened up 6 passageways in all of creation. Kuthumi came to me and he said, we're going to do this online, but if we can have some people come in person to really lay the groundwork, then the online program will be that much better, that much more sparkling neutrality, sparkling creativity, very Kuthumi. So we did these 6 passageways, and each of these beautiful beings had a passageway to explore. Darkness, softness, texture, God's self-absorption, all these different passageways and Kuthumi assigned each one a passageway. And it was really about fun and play and exploration. But Kuthumi said the fun and play and exploration was the service. He said these beings came and set up a grid on Earth that supported this event that happened in March, some call Heaven's Cross. It supported the opening up the passageways to all of creation, right? You're not just a little bitty human being anymore. You're a grand master shining your light, raising a family, working a job, but also doing all of this. So we had that event in January. We have another one next in December. I'm really excited about that because we're all going to be on bikes. Kuthumi's original topic for the December event was take a walk on Theos. And everyone who signed up, we have 5 people signed up, wanted to be on a bicycle. So now it's called Take a Bike on Theos. And we have all of our bicycles set up. We're going to be biking and playing. In March of this year, I taught for the first time the divine blueprint materials that Yeshua, Mary Magdalene, and Babaji have been working with me on for 10 years. I was not allowed to teach it until the opening of all the passageways and all of creation. I was not allowed to teach it until Heaven's Cross happened. And now I can. And these 3 beautiful beings showed up to my island house right here in this room. And they were the first people to ever take the divine blueprint course. And they contributed so much to it that I redid the materials after. And I taught it again in September. And now I'm redoing the materials based on all that coded new energy. I can make this better, a little tweak here. Have you thought about this? What if? So Kuthumi. So, in the divine blueprint, Kuthumi is not there. And it's just me. And the gurus that I've had that taught it to me, Babaji being one, who has shown up many times to reorient me. You're facing the wrong way. He's not like Kuthumi. He just grabs my shoulders and pushes me that direction. It's a beautiful, beautiful relationship. Guru is not a 4-letter word to me. All this stuff comes out because I've worked so closely with these beautiful beings. As a student, I'm forever a student of new energy. New energy is infinite. You can never be done. How boring would that be anyway? All right. So in January to June last year, we took that we took that week-long event in Mexico and we stretched it out to 6 months. And these were the 6 passageways: softness, malleable you and malleable realities, texture, reading the braille of sensuality. How I get this thought song off is I read the braille of what is going on in your world and I pull it in. Depth, navigation of self, that 8-degree turn to the right, sink down, look away, reorient around the new thing. Darkness, exploration of your true creator nature. divine blueprint. We began to introduce the divine blueprint here, in which the I am is the new identity, instead of the designated ascendee being what's driving you, your expression and your experience on earth. It becomes all the lifetimes. And we make some little micro adjustments from the macro perspective. At this point, you're not making these big, giant leaps. You're not having to move countries. You know, a lot of people try to rearrange their human life, and what they're looking for really is to make these micro adjustments from the macro in their divine blueprint. If you're one of those people that's constantly moving and looking and this and changing all the external things, it's usually because there's like a deep, deep desire and passion to reorient in the divine blueprint, which is the Moria calls the divine blueprint, the electromagnetic universe of you. And we explore the electromagnetics of your divine blueprint. We explore gravity in the expansion, constriction, malleable reality experience. So this, we called this series The Rhythm of Further. The Rhythm of Further will come out in book form. And it's going to have conversations from the people who participated in it. So it's not just going to be me and Kuthumi talking. It has the people who participated in the event in the book. We're in the editing process, and it will probably take another year. I've kind of slowed down on that because I just, need to space it out. And, I don't take this the wrong way, but Kuthumi says, putting it out, it's not landed yet. It needs to land. And he told me it'll be appreciated better in linear year 2025. People will really want that book in 2025. So our goal is to get it out in like October of next year. In the meantime, it hangs in its potential, rewriting itself over and over and over again. Then in September, we did our second Divine Blueprint event, the Inimitable Divine Blueprint. The Divine Blueprint truly is all of creation experienced subjectively, how you personally and tangibly interacted in all of creation, and bringing into the light of awareness all of those interactions, all those intersections between the vertical and the horizontal, linear time and space, vertical axes, right? The cross that we're talking about. So you're able to move freely, right? And then time starts to do things. And the vertical, it all starts to, but the vertical would be absolute reality, right? And the horizontal would be relative reality, time, space, awakening, realization, embodiment, right? And then you realize so it opened up the intersections in your divine blueprint, and we played with that. We talked a lot about the importance of subjectivity, right? So you're not like, oh, all of creation, this happened. You can tell when you talk to somebody and they just have these like broad sweeping terms, right? But subjectivity is like I went into my last Atlantean lifetime, and this version of myself was terrified. And I went and told her it all works out, and the outcome actually changes in that lifetime. You're rewriting the history of all of creation, lining it up, but through a subjective experience, a deeply personal, intimate experience. So we did this in September. We had 10 beings from 6 countries: New Zealand, Scotland, Caribbean, USA, Canada, and Spain. The people we work with are all over the world. We have a German call on Fridays when we do our programs. It's just all over the world. Romania, Australia, New Zealand. No one in Africa, but a lot of Europe and South America. And and obviously United States and Canada, Mexico. What's next? So people have been emailing me and said, I'm really interested in this divine blueprint thing. And some people have asked, I want to support the satsang. So Patreon is brand new, and I created a new Patreon page. The app is a lot more user-friendly. So we're slowly releasing some of the Divine Blueprint materials on there. So you can click to join for free. And then if you want to support the satsang at $5 a month, just $5, you can do that there. It would really help out with all of our publishing costs and everything else. And what it costs to run everything, and just your energetic support, like literally pushes me out of bed in the morning. So I just appreciate that. So you could join Patreon for $5 a month and get the satsang, or for $11 a month. That's Kuthumi Subway sandwich. In the United States, a Subway sandwich costs $11. So Kuthumi calls it the Subway sandwich tier. For $11 a month, you can get some of the Divine Blue, like each month there'll be a satsang in there and a Divine Blueprint video. We've already kind of loaded it up. Go check it out. You can also download the app and join as a free member, and you'll still get the satsangs delivered in this new app. That's really nice. They redesigned it. I really like it. We have 8 people on there. I haven't barely announced it. I really want to say thank you to those who signed up. It's not just the $11. It's like, wow, just grounding it, bringing this Divine Blueprint information in for the first time. And I mean, this concept of the Divine Blueprint, it's a form of yoga that Babaji has taught me through, but not like yoga mat, spandex yoga. But it's the first time we've able to really put it in writing, because until Heaven's Cross or the passageways to all of creation opened up, it wasn't going to be put in writing because it could have been abused really bad, is what Kuthumi, Babaji, everybody else has told me. So now I have permission. There's been a lot of things that I've done in life where I haven't had permission. Still stories I can't get in the book yet, so I have it, and I have the full support. So the Divine Blueprint is really cool because it teaches you teach yourself how new energy works. I wrote that here. How does new energy work? Your Divine Blueprint will show you. So what I do in the course and in these materials that'll go on Patreon is show you how to interact with the Divine Blueprint that is you, right? So I'm the middleman between you, and then I back up another step. And then I give you another way to connect, middleman between you, and then I back up, and then you create those neural networks, the lights reaching the fascia in your body, all the good stuff. And it's here. We will do the full Divine Blueprint course next year online, and someone has talked to us about creating an event in Vienna, Austria, to do this Divine Blueprint materials. My intent for this Patreon page, I wrote it down, but I want to read it just to ground it in there. My intent for this Patreon page is to open like a blooming blue rose. Can you see it? A blooming blue rose. All the information I have coded in my DNA, from Yeshua, from Mary Magdalene, from my Atlantean lifetime, who experienced realization, and she was the designated ascendee. Lauren wasn't the designated ascendee. When I experienced my realization, I realized that she sent it to me at the perfect timing. So my designated ascendee came, and she wasn't in a standard biological form. It was pre-standardized form. So my designated ascendee, who has retired from her role, was in Atlantis, and she lit me up so I could do all this. And we worked together really well. And I love sitting with her, and she's me. So my intent for this Patreon page is to open like a blooming blue rose, all the information I have coded in my DNA, to bring this creational expression experience to Earth now. And maybe you have the passion for bringing it to Earth now. We talk about bringing the Christ consciousness to Earth. We talk about all these big, grand concepts. This is where the rubber meets the road, where the new tires on the bus are making contact with the road, and we're cruising on our new tires. We're cruising on our new energy tires. So $11 a month, and last video, we had about 600 views. I don't count that for my self-worth, but just for information, we had about 600 views from 500 people. So there's about 500 people, and about 100 of those people watched the video twice. You know, they really liked it. They watched it twice. Thank you. Thank you. And so if we have 100 people on here, we don't have to do the whole donation thing or whatever else. So you're getting content, you're getting value for your dollar, capitalism. And I'm embracing that. I'm embracing capitalism. So you're getting something of high value for your $11 a month. And in exchange, I don't need to beg for anything anymore. So that was one of the things about the tires falling off. It's like, okay, we're not doing the donation thing anymore. I mean, if you want to send one, thank you. Right. But it's like, it's not working. That's old. I mean, donation, old, it's not working. You know, I read there was a group of the, you know, realized white dudes had a round table. Yeah, the realized white dudes had a round table. And I got an email and said, only 5% of people have donated. And it was like a mirror flashing in my face. It's like, why didn't they just charge for the event? You know, it's like, oh, and that's me. I'm begging for donations. Okay, let's rewire this. The tires fell off the bus. So you get these beautiful videos you can't get anywhere else on my website or anywhere else for $11 a month. And I could pay all these book publishing costs and everything else. So that's these are the new tires. I want to stress that the divine blueprint is all of creation experienced with the subjectivity of your inimitable consciousness, right? So we're not talking in broad terms of like, oh, in this part of creation, blah, blah, blah happens. You're saying, I personally experienced X, Y, Z, and this reality and brought this part back because it was good and recoded this, right? So you're actually having you're interacting with it. We talk about Kriya Yoga, the yoga of action. So you have the actor and the observer as one. We're not just in the witness junkie. Being a witness is really great. Being a witness is like you hit pause and you can ask yourself, what do I really want to create, right? But the witness is not going to be able to create. You need an actor, right? So the actor and the observer become one, right? And you're witnessing and you're acting at the same time, rather than just sitting and I'm the witness, right? Really good, because, you know, most humans don't ever go to the witness state, right? They're just going through life, reacting, living out the cause and effect of karma, cause and effect. So the witness is good. You hit pause. You go, wait a second. There's something more. What do I want to create? But then I see people get paralyzed in the witness, and they're like, is it safe to create? I don't know. I have a hangover from Atlantis and the creation of the biological form. You know, I'm afraid to create. And then, you know, I kind of give them a little shove, you know, actor and observer is one. The divine blueprint is a way to do that. And it's not dogmatic, it's fluid, malleable reality. Something that Kuthumi taught me. Oh my God, I'm still a student. Horrible, right? When I see people react, like teacher-student thing, I can literally see the codes in their DNA. That hierarchy was coded into the biology to create a functioning society in Atlantis that was based on hierarchy and organizational structure. So that coded hierarchy DNA was really needed to build the society, but it's no longer needed. So we can allow it to evolve, adapt, and recode based on the light of awareness. But a lot of that teacher-student dialogue, or I'm done, I've graduated, you know, it's not really you. We don't take it personal, because I can literally see it's just a code in your DNA that you're just not aware of yet. So there's that. Okay, what do we got next, Coot? All right, so this is likely the last really strong Kuthumi channel thing I'll be doing. Kuthumi will always be with me. I will continue to teach everything he has taught me. Oh, I'm so sad. But Kuthumi's this is what is going to be him and I working together in this intense way. He has worked me to the bone, y'all. I mean, whoever gets Kuthumi next, good luck to you. I hope you like to work. So this is going to be the last like real hardcore Kuthumi channel thing. Part of me is like, oh, thank God it's the last. And the other part of me is like terrified that I'm just going to be, having Kuthumi kind of in the back. But so we have 40 spaces. We only have 7 left, 7 of 40 spaces left. It starts in January. So what we do is we come together every month and I do a little video prompt with Kuthumi. And then we have a monthly call. And I'll tell you what the topics are next. So we come together to write the book. This was created through this kind of a program. We met every single month for almost what Kuthumi's saying, a year and a half. And I put all the conversations that we had on Zoom in this book, weaving it into the tapestry, the manifestation of this new energy. So it's essential that you come on the call, and we're not like debating things like, oh, this and that. It's like the subjectivity. This is how I'm experiencing my biology adapting to the light. We have like a little homework assignment, which is play. It's like, oh, we're going to explore this braille of sensuality over the next month. And then you go out and explore the braille of sensuality. And then you come on the call and you report back, right? And all of that goes into the book. This book would not exist without running programs that Kuthumi's running, because we need to have the codes from actual human beings. This can't be like channeled information from above. It has to be from actual human beings. That's you. So we have 7 spaces left. Doesn't matter if we fill them or not. We have 33 luminous beings signed up. Holy hell. Some new people too. It's usually 90% return, but we have some new people around this time. Kuthumi must have been recruiting because I don't have any marketing going on here. So we'll be writing volume 2 of this book. And so it's going to be called The Magi's Definitive Guide to the New Human Species, Volume 2. Volume 1 was Carbon Altered Through Consciousness. Volume 2 is The Anatomy of Light. The Anatomy of Light. You come to this program, your name is going in this book. Your signature, your inadmittable divine blueprint is going into this book. All the information that we gather, and I'm doing the hard work here. I can't wait to pass it to me on sometimes for that reason. It's great. And there are not, I know what you think. Some people are like, oh, it's a group. It is not a group. It's a group. It's a composite consciousness of sovereign one beings. We say, oh, we gather alone together. We're in the conversations that create calls. There's not personality dynamics. Nobody's correcting somebody else. This is not a Facebook forum. These are highly, highly, highly mature beings. And if they're not, the space kicks them out. No refunds, It's like, it's very rare, but sometimes people just get so fried and they're gone. The next day they're gone. The space polices itself. It's just very rare. But what I'm telling you is that's a good thing. It feels kind of violent to me, and I get a little sad and like get a little whacked out. But I realize, doing this long enough, I've been doing this for 7 years. 7 years. But I realized that the space that we gather in absolute reality of sovereign ones, no group dynamics, it's not Atlantis, no hierarchy, that the space will not allow it to be anything but sovereign and healthy. And that may look like somebody leaving, but it's not like I'm having to manage things. When I first started doing these calls, there was a lot of having to manage, like, hey, that's not okay to say to somebody. That was 7 years ago. That was then. This is now, right? Great. So this is really good. And most of these people are repeat. They love writing these books together. They love how it works. They've made lasting friendships. These people are all living a full life as a human being, teacher, dentist, doctor, engineer, podcast producer, store clerk, house cleaner, tea server, and a barista. These people are all in the world. In the world. They're all in the world. So place your name on the pages. That's what Kuthumi said. All right. So kind of how we decided to break it down. Now we're going to go through all of this in our December in-person event in Mexico. These are some of the topics. We're going to cover in the anatomy of light. These are some of the chapter titles: the mind of the Magi, the heart of the Magi, the spine of the Magi, the nervous system. We're going to go really deep into that third nervous system, and the feet of the Magi. If you watch the light body sessions, Yogananda says wisdom lives in your feet. So we're going to take that to a new level. Since March, I have not listened to any Crimson Circle, so I don't know what's going on there unless you all tell me. It's not I hate it, or it's just once that Crimson Council closed its door, I just felt like they didn't need me to be there, so I'm not there. That's where I go where I'm needed, and I'm definitely not needed there. So someone sent me this quote, and it's like paraphrase, and I did a Google search to make sure it was correct, but here it is anyway, because I couldn't find it. And how we read things, and it's like, was it there? Was it not there? But it said the Magi is not about the bright and shining, smarter human. The Magi is about uncoding the many codes that you have carried as a human for lifetimes. I would add that it's not just uncoding, but it's recoding and repatterning, and new energy patterns are so different than old energy patterns. It's going from, closed neural networks, looping neural networks, to open neural networks. And all this can feel a little bit wobbly and disorienting. So these monthly calls are also a nice support for that. And we have Kuthumi hovering over you, making sure that you're not going too fast, too soon, or too slow, or whatever. So I would not be able to do this without Kuthumi. He would not be able to do it without my overachiever typing hands and my ability to use this technology and talk to you all. I do have a degree in broadcast journalism, so that helps. Here we are. I'm not doing the TV news. I'm here on this alternative media network here, which is what we're about to talk about. All right. We talked about this at the beginning. Yeah, I covered that one. All right. Let's see. I end up not needing the slides, so I don't know. So one of the things that all beings that come here have in common is energetic maturity. Their backgrounds are different. Not everybody came from Crimson Circle. We are in the universality of shining your light. People have come from all sorts of places to join us. So energetic maturity is something we've talked about a lot behind the scenes. So I just wanted to bring out a few highlights. In my 7 years of doing this, I have found the more a being has inhabited their consciousness, the more curious and passionate they are to explore it. So the more that they've inhabited their consciousness, the more curious and passionate they are. Right? So in your terms, it would be the longer someone has been in their self-realization experience, the more I see that curiosity of spirit. That's your terms. That's not mine. So it's this willingness to drop heaven, right? You reached out, you experienced heaven and bliss, and to explore and to be passionate and to learn more about yourself, you have to be willing to drop heaven. You want to know about the willingness to drop heaven? If you have on Audible, Adyashanti's Falling into Grace, chapter 8, listen to that again. Listen to chapter 8 again. The willingness to drop heaven. For if you know, you know. I'm not going to add anything onto it. It's just like you have to be willing to drop heaven. You also have to be willing to drop hell. which I have something in the last slide about that. That curiosity of spirit is the only requirement for full luminosity. You don't even need your realization for full luminosity. A desire to fully express, experience the entirety of who you are. That is energetic maturity. It's the freedom to. In Adyashanti's Falling into Grace, he talks about, he can tell the maturity of the energetic maturity or spiritual maturity, as he calls it, of a being he's working with, because they're in the freedom to. Freedom to explore, freedom to co-create new books together. You know, the people who have kind of, you know, given me the middle finger, which is fine. They're in the freedom from. I'm free from here. I don't have to do this anymore. I'm free from this. I'm free from that. I'm free, you know. You feel the difference. Freedom to explore, freedom from this prison. You know, when I got a divorce, I was free from the marriage. I was free from the marriage. That's what it felt like. I was suffering so bad when I got out of that marriage and the divorce, the ink dried on the divorce papers. I was in the freedom from. And then I woke up one day and I said, oh man, not only am I free from that horrible karmic marriage, I am free to do what I explore. So after realization, you're free from learning anything. After realization, you're free from this, you're free from that. And then you go, well, wait a second. I'm also free to. Tommy brought this up a lot on the Rhythm of Further Calls. And I have to tell you, I didn't really get the energy codes of it until you did that. So thanks, Tom. The last thing about energetic maturity is truly wanting all beings to be free, all of humanity to be at peace and happy. It's another code in this standardized form, is that humans root for other humans to fail. Well, they'll figure that out later. And then I don't even know what to say, because I don't live in that world, right? But something really shifts in you and for you, and in having a happy and joyous life when you truly want what's best for everybody without interfering with it, right? But like, there's a lot, when I meet people, there's a lot of like still rooting for people to stumble. And it's something that's really related to that hierarchy coded in your standardized biological form. Got to move beyond that. I mean, that's been the most, like, forget realization, the most life-changing thing that's happened to me, you know, in the last 2 years has been that hierarchy coming out of my DNA. So I don't have to animate a fictitious personality of and choosing the end of suffering, and being able to visualize and see tangibly and taste how it's available to all of humanity now. So with that in mind, we already have 7 people signed up for Unraveling Realization, exploring the infinite mystery of the I am that I am. It's also a 6-month program. It's limited to 8 people. We have 1 space left, and Kuthumi and I, we did the information sessions recently, and I had my joy, which is pretty overflowing, and then Kuthumi put his joy into my biology, and I was smiling so hard on the last information session that my jaw was like killing me, couldn't stop smiling. So we're going to curiously explore the infinite mystery of the I am that I am. 1 space left. Yeah. Okay. So this is the new content. This is a lot to bring out, but Kuthumi said there's so much to get to in December. He really wants to get this out. So Kuthumi came to me and he said, here's the topic that he wants to cover. And he was talking about the importance of technology as the great equalizer. Technology as the great equalizer. And so I started to feel into that. He told me about 2 months ago, we got to feel into this topic. And so I spent some time there. And I was like, how do I present this in a way that's mine? So I started to think, imagine if the Bible, like the story of Yeshua, was written by people in power at the time. What if the Romans were the ones who wrote down the story of Jesus from their point of view? What would that look like? What if the rabbis who had power, who are running, the sacrifices for money to cleanse you of your sins for the low, low price of 3 coins, what if they wrote the story of Jesus? What if these common people, the disciples that Yeshua picked, who were common people, not grand human beings, not shiny, shiny humans, right? But the people he picked to be the witness to his act of consciousness, what if they didn't take the time to write down the story? What if they didn't take time to write down the story? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. What if they didn't write it down? And it was written by the Romans and the rabbis and the people who had money and power, and they were the only ones writing it down. The Bible was written by the common man. Unfortunately, the women's stories did not make it into the public version. Another story for another time. The disciples give their version, right? Here's my version, right? We have the disciples' version, and in each version, there is beautiful nuggets of wisdom. It's a huge gift. They took the time to write it, copy it, and disseminate it without a lot of structured support. I think about this in the context of today. What if the only version of modern day self-realization left here on earth was made by those who could afford big budget productions? What if there's not the story of the woman who's able to hold the Christ consciousness in her heart of hearts and lives a regular human life? Where's her story going to go? It's not going to go in a high budget film. She wasn't interviewed for the latest and greatest. So to me, that's what technology is. It's so beautiful. This is the joy of technology. I can publish my own books, which are our own books, right? We can create these low budget videos without anybody dictating control. I don't have someone say, oh, do a little less of this or a little more of that. You guys might do it in the comments, but I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Consciousness is not, bending and for the YouTube comments, it's like, okay, here it goes. Kuthumi's going to say what he says. So imagine if I had to go to an authority figure and be like, hey, I am channeling Kuthumi. I really need to get it on the air, right? There used to only be like TV, and who can afford a TV spot, right? We have this thing called the internet. I don't have to go beg anyone permission to channel Kuthumi or to channel myself or to put this stuff out there. Without technology, there's no way I could do it, I often remind myself of this when I get bogged down from playing all the roles. Someone will email me like, I need to talk to the technical support. And I'm like, yes, this is the technical support helpline, or, they're asking, oh, there's something wrong with it. What's going on in the store? Or it's an accounting question. It's like, I am the accountant. I'm the chief technology officer. I'm the billing department, but, I get bogged down in that. And then I realize I don't answer to anybody because of this thing called technology. It's not dictated by a hierarchical structure where I have to go to a board meeting and say, this is what I want to do. Like, can we vote on it? There's no fucking vote here. It's like, that felt good. I'll do it again. That supported people. I'll do it again. That didn't work out. No big deal. I'm not going to beat myself up. I'll just do it differently. I'll do a new thing. It didn't work. I'll do a new thing. You know, you have to get out of that perfectionist thing. You're not going to create anything. So anytime someone tells me they have a passion for writing their story down or making the video or their new Instagram page, all of it, I always say, go for it, right? The more common, right? The more regular human you are, the better, the more important it is. The more important it is to get your story down, right? Because, you know, the people who make the big shiny things and make themselves look great and have their hair and makeup done, that's not what it looks like in day-to-day life. They don't talk about crapping their pants. I was really super, you know, this book, I'm honest, right? Crap my pants. Grew up in the suburbs of Houston, Texas, nothing special, right? It's really important to have that common story. And this technology is the great equalizer. Otherwise, we're going to have the Bible according to the Romans, the Bible according to the rabbi leaders, all the dogma. Write it down, hit publish. You have a divine signature. There can never be enough. There can never be enough or too many accounts of this experience. The more human and common, the better. I will say the most important thing, though, is the subjectivity. Give us the little details. We want to know the name of your dog, right? We want to know, you know, not just the pretty stuff and not just the, you know, regurgitating what so-and-so said on channel number 8, 9, 10, right? But how did you experience through that subjectivity, through really honing in on your experiences, you're bringing the Christ consciousness to earth. And if you could put that in the technology, right? Wow, right? This book, 100 years from now, will be decayed, right? But that technology will not. You're not going to be looking for the Dead Sea Scrolls or the Amazon published hardback, which this is, you know, when I first started publishing books, this wasn't available. You write a book, you put it in a hardback. It's so nice, right? But it's like, that's brand new technology. You used to have these flimsy little paperbacks. They were awful, right? And you used to have to, when you self-publish it through Amazon, you used to have to do an editor, you know, and pay for that. And now you can just put it in there. Just put it in there. Right? Technology, the great equalizer. Hit record, hit publish, or come on and we'll write it down for you. Participate in one of our programs, co-create a book with us. Co-create the Magi's Definitive Guide to the New Human Species, Volume 2, The Anatomy of Light. All right, speaking of light, about 6-7 months ago, Kuthumi said, if you feel into your light body and your biology simultaneously every day for a year, you do it every day for a year, 5 minutes every day for a year, you'll start to have a really tangible experience with the light body. And I said, okay, great, Kuthumi, let me try it. And I said, I'm going to do this for 6 months. And because it sounds too simple. Oh, I just feel into my light body and my biology every day for a year, and then I'll glow. Well, shit, I'll be damned, you know? I did it for 6 months. I still do it every day. And it's real. I feel a lot of difference and tangible changes because I started to notice the subtle energy of what's truly occurring, right? Really paying attention to it instead of scrolling through Instagram and reading another meme written by giving advice and someone who's not realized, you know, therapy trauma and this trauma and boundaries and all the Instagram memes you put up from people who are not experiencing what you're experiencing, never going to get it. Right. So instead of doing that or do that first or whatever, you can feel into create this experience for yourself. So to get it, to make it more tangible, the new energy routine here, I recorded 2 videos. I recorded one where I'm talking and explaining how to do this. And then there's an experiential video that has music. Aaliyah made it. And so you download that one. And then you have like a guided imagery experience, breathing and image experience, which is a lot of how I disseminate information is through images and sensations. So you have the video and you download it, you can listen to that every day. But what I really think will happen is you listen to that enough, you kind of see the makeup of how to create this experiential stamp, this energetic imprint on yourself, and develop your own new energy routine with it. So, Kuthumi likes P's, potentials, possibilities, probabilities, passageways, right? He says, this is the 5th P, this is the 6th P, practice. The 5th P is practice. The 6th P is proof. It'll give you proof that you're in your light body, right? So Kuthumi challenged me to do this. I'm 6-7 months in. It is changing everything. He was not correct. It's not too simple. I create a passageway on how. So it's in the store. It helps keep everything running to have these products. And it includes email support. I get a lot of emails and people asking, really good questions. And they take me about an hour to respond to each, even if it's only 3 or 4 sentences. I sit in there with your question and before responding. So this also includes email response. I'm unable to answer every single email I get now. So this is a way to also direct it because I really want to answer those. All right. So then you have email support to make this light body experience part of your day-to-day reality. Simple, easy, fun, right? So that's in the online store on the website. Oh, if you're in the new human database, you have this already. So as we move into 2024 and 2025, this is really all that we're doing. This is an artificial intelligence generated image. The Yeshua on my last video is also the same. I did this one with Kuthumi. And it's just this broad of what is Christ consciousness and how does it work on earth now? It's much different than it was last year even. It's changing. So let us discover it alone together. So that's kind of our theme moving forward and what we're doing. And all these offerings are just little bitty passageways. They're neural networks if you want to come in and play with us. And I just want to stress this divine blueprint is really exploring all of creation subjectively, not from a we're all one or very group outside focus where it's outside of yourself. Divine blueprint is exploring the electromagnetic grids within you, literally in this biological form, subjectively, not through human personality, but the subjectivity of your inimitable consciousness. Through curious exploration, you learn how new energy works. The only way to learn how new energy works is to be curious and passionate about it. If you know everything, you are never going to learn how new energy works because it's new. You can't know everything because it's infinite. You cannot know everything. Oh, what else we got? There are. So when you have these experiences and you create an arrival point, right? You're at an arrival point, you reorient it around it, and then it becomes something new. And then that something new becomes something new, right? So that's really how the new energy works. There are no arrival points where you set up shop. I'm done. I'm done. New energy is never done. All right, I talked a lot. I'm not going to do the rest of the slides today. I went on my camping trip to be away from my computer for a little bit, and I have a real camera because I'm such an overworker. I guess it's a passionate thing. I'm just never ending working. I talk about that on our Patreon page. I did a confessional. I got myself a real camera and I'm learning how to use it. So this is from a camping trip, and I don't know if you could see it. but where's my little mouse? I don't have it. There's Kuthumi in the tree staring at me, and this beautiful light ray came through the tree. I don't know how to edit the photos yet. I'm creating something fun for myself that is a little bit, kind of like coloring in a coloring book, right? To not be working on the materials. Although, I mean, I'm just never not working on the materials. I'm experiencing life and I go, oh, I gotta write that down. Have you thought about this? What if? That's so Kuthumi. All right. So I had some more slides, but I've been talking for a while. So I just want to sit with you and, my goal is to connect, to locate, connect, and create with curious and passionate beings. They don't have a lot of the rough energy that you see on Earth right now. Energy becomes not rough when energy and consciousness come together, right? When energy and consciousness are still separate, it creates a very rough dynamic in the body. The cells are actually violent when people are disconnected. And having the non-violent cells in my body my cells are not violent. I want everyone to be happy. I'm full of joy. I'm a Care Bear with the rainbow shooting out of my chest. All the stuff you thought was annoying because it was fake. Well, now it's real, so it's not annoying. That's my intent here, is to co-create with all of you. And I do offer one-on-one sessions. I do get emails about people wanting to talk as friends, and I'm everybody's friend, but I just don't have the capacity to do that. And even my closest friends, when they want to work on something, they book and pay for a session, like even my closest friends. So, I have a friend who's a photographer, and she took photos of, Ollie and me. I would never say, oh, she's my friend, so I'm not going to pay her for her photography services. So I just want to be clear that, I wish I could just talk to friends all day long, but there's a lot of rearranging that comes in. And, just like the photographer who's really good at her job, I'm really good at my job too. So there's that. And let's see. All right. We're not going to get to that. So I'll just read so you understand if it's something you do want to do. This is a review of someone that I met with. Her name is Doomy. Thank you, Doomy. And most people don't want to write a review because they're, want their privacy, their anonymousness, and that's okay. But I asked her to write a review that's like really honest and really showing people where my talents are and where my weaknesses are, because I do have them. There's things I'm really good at and things that I'm not good at all. It's just not my passion. So she wrote, the way you guided me through the pretty heavy storm of my Atlantean part was going through was extraordinary. It worked wonderful with the inquiry, question after question, until you get on the other side of the story. This is my process that I walk you through with you. The safe space you created was extremely important. So she, the Atlantean part of me in this case, could relax and move through the heaviness. For me, this is truly your strengths and not solving other human problems. I'm no good at that. Something you could do about this is to point the torch of truth towards where they are not honest with themselves, the so-called hard truth. You are very good at this too, she wrote. I know that it costs you a lot to say it because no human likes to hear that they are not honest with themselves about something. And the first instinct is to shoot the messenger, meaning the one that delivers the message, in this case, you. But after the first impact, things start to move. That's what I found. It's like I kind of do the push and it's uncomfortable. And then the person goes, oh, okay, great. I'm going to accept that part of myself. Now we can get some Now we can open up this passageway in the divine blueprint. Now we can rewrite the codes, right? But that initial poke is, and then you see the results and you go, poke me more. And then I have to tell people I'm not poking anymore. You're good where you're at right now. So, but she says, after the first impact, things start to move and more if you are willing to open and allow the truth in. And this is something that they have to choose for themselves, of course. Speaking from my own experience as always. Thank you, Dumi, for writing this down. I get emails about the last Atlantean lifetime. It's not just about being aware of it. You can actually go in there and allow it to rewrite itself, where it's a totally different outcome. But I can't do that in an email, guys. And I can't do that in a friend call. Like, my friend calls are like, hey, you want to go surfing? And I'm like, yeah, I want to go surfing. That's what my friend calls look like. So we are Sarah, Kuthumi, and you, and we hope you come play with us in one of these ways on the Patreon page. Do the deep dive, do the Divine Blueprint workshop. Maybe you're one of the 7 spaces left of Kuthumi's new human database. He will let you know. One person was like, kind of like, I don't know if I should sign up. And then Kuthumi pushed her over the edge. And here she is. All right. Thank you so much to all of you who keep this space running, who have supported us over 7 years, 7 books, 8 books, can't count. Someone asked me how many books I'd written. I was like, I don't know. But when I hit the rock bottom, what I thought was the rock bottom, until Kuthumi's like, that's not the bottom. You're just doing something different. I thought I might not be able to share anymore. And every time I felt like total despair or like wanted to piece out of this lifetime, every single time, my friend Jen pointed this out, it's a human characteristic, is this: if I wasn't able to share my gift, right? It's like, if I can't share my gift, what's the point of being on earth? And that's every human. Every human needs a role, a way to express themselves, a passion, and to implement that passion, not just in the mind, but into real life, into the cellular structure. So when I hit the bottom of like, this isn't working, my panic was that I wouldn't have the resources to continue sharing with you all. And then I realized the passion for sharing is so great. That's kind of why I'm there. So I was like, okay, so we just do a new thing. We get new tires on the van. I waited so long to change the tires. I had to get 2 flat tires to realize I was doing things an old way. We're doing a new thing. As soon as I put the new tires on the car, it's like people were signing up for the programs. As soon as I put the new tires on the car, the Patreon page came out. One of you lovely beings suggested it to me. So thank you so much. You know who you are. It's like, oh, and then people, it's like, oh, okay, it's all moving now. I just had to put new tires on. I had to connect with relative reality in a completely different way. All right, I can just keep talking. This could be 4 hours long. So I will see you all in December, probably not at the beginning of December, because from December 2nd through 9th, we're doing the Kuthumi event in Mexico. So I will see you guys sometime mid-December or, mid-December-ish. And I'll report back on what we did in Mexico. That's kind of my special thing. Anatomy of Light special featuring Kuthumi. All right. I am love with you. I am a passionate, curious explorer with you. I'm joy with you. I'm all the things. See you in December.